Good morning, everyone. How are you? It's Megan from Hillcrest Country Club. Just doing story time this morning. We're gonna read a pop-up Peekaboo Farm, and then another story from the Mommy Read to Me Treasury. We're gonna read the Tales of Black Beauty. So let's go ahead and get started with the pop-up book. Do you like pop-up books? Pretty fun. Let's get started. Big Mommy Hen says cluck, cluck, cluck. She's lost something. What rotten luck. Can you find what Mommy Hen is looking for? There's Mommy Hen. Let's look under here. Cheep, cheep, cheep. Peekaboo. It's hen chickens or hen chicks. One spotted moo cow and one moo cow more. But who's that neighing behind the stable door? Who's behind the door? Peekaboo! Nay, nay, it's Horsey! Three pink piggies are splashing water in the sun. Can you see a feathered friend hiding from the sun? Let's look behind the trees. Honk, honk! Peekaboo, it's Goose! Five noisy animals are playing on the farm. But who's that over there? Someone in the barn. Baa, moo, neigh, cluck, oink. There are all your five animals. Let's see who's in the barn. Peekaboo, it's Farmer John on his tractor. Boom, boom. The end. That's pretty neat. Do you like pop-up books? I like pop-up books a lot. Let's read the Tales of Black Beauty. The first place I can remember was a large meadow with a pond. There were shady trees that leaned over it, and rushes and water lilies. When I was old enough to eat grass, my mother went out during the work during the day, and at night I would lie down close to her. In the meadow were 6 young colts. They were all older than me. Some were as nearly as big as grown-up horses. I had great fun with those colts, galloping around the field as fast as we could go. Sometimes we played rough, biting and kicking. Then one day my mother took me aside. Those colts are very good colts, but they are cart horses and bad-mannered. You have been well bred. You have never seen me bite or kick. I hope you will grow up gentle and good. You must work hard, lift your feet when you trot, and never bite or kick, even in play. Do you see Black Beauty and his mother? I have never forgotten those wise words. I knew my mother was a wise horse, and our master thought a great deal of her. Her name was Duchess, but he often called her Pet. Our master was a good, kind man. We were always well fed and had clean stables. He spoke as kindly to us as he did to his own children. We were all very fond of him. All of the horses would go to him, although I think we were his favorites. Years passed and I grew handsome and strong. I had a bright, shiny black coat, one white foot, and a pretty white star on my forehead. My master did not want to sell me until I was 4 years old. He said colts shouldn't work like horses until they were properly grown up. When the time came that I was 4 years old, Squire Gordon came to see me. He checked my eyes, my mouth, and my legs. Then I had to walk and trot and gallop in front of him. He said he would have me once I was ready to ride and drive in a carriage. My master decided to break me in so I wouldn't get scared or hurt. We started the very next day. In case you don't know what breaking in is, I'll explain. It means teaching a horse to wear a saddle and bridle and learn how to carry someone on its back. At first, it felt strange to have somebody on my back, but I felt proud to carry my master. Next, I was broken to harness. My master often drove me alongside my mother because she was calm and steady. She told me the better I behaved, the better I'd be treated. More good words. Look at how Black Beauty grew up. Very pretty. Before long, I was taken to Birtwick Park, where I would live with Squire Gordon. It was a large house that was surrounded by gardens. There was also an orchard and then the stables. The stables were very roomy, with a large swinging door that opened into the yard. I was put into a fine stall next to a little fat gray pony. His name was Merrylegs, and he was ridden by the squire's children. He was a fine little pony, and we quickly became great friends. There was also a chestnut mare in the stable called Ginger. Ginger was bad-tempered and snapped and bit. Do you see all the ponies and the horses? The next day, James the stable boy fitted me with a bridle and got me ready for Squire Gordon to ride. I am pleased to say my new master was a very good rider. When we got back from our first ride, his wife was waiting for him. Far too handsome for that. Yes, she agreed. He is really a beauty. What about calling him Black Beauty? Perfect, smiled Squire Gordon. And so that was my new name. Do you see Black Beauty? Although I missed my mother and the meadow, I was quite happy in my new home. Sometimes I was taken out with Ginger. At first, she laid back her ears, and I was wary of her, but soon we became friends. One day, Ginger told me about her old life. No one had ever been kind to her. That was why she was so bad-tempered. But life was much better at Squire Gordon's, and little by little, she grew more gentle and cheerful. My life at Squire Gordon's was a good one. The coachman was called John Manley. He was a kind man who talked to me a great deal and often took me out with the carriage. James, the stable boy, was just as gentle and friendly. Would you like to go for a carriage ride? I think that would be quite fun. One day, my master and mistress decided to visit friends 2 days' journey away. James was to drive them, and Ginger and I were to pull the carriage. The first day's drive was long and tiring, so we were pleased to stop at a hotel for the night. The 2 grooms who worked there took care of us very well. They groomed us and bedded us down in clean stalls. Later, a young man smoking a pipe came in for a gossip. "Towler," said the groom, "put down your pipe, and then go up to the loft and put some hay in these horses' rack, please." Towler did as he was asked. Later, James came in to check on us, and then the door was locked. I woke feeling very uncomfortable. The air was thick and choking. I heard Ginger coughing, and the other horses seemed restless. It was dark and I couldn't see anything. The stable was full of smoke and I could hardly breathe. The trap door to the loft had been left open, and I could hear a cracking and snapping. I did not know what it was, but I trembled with fright. At last I heard footsteps from one of the grooms burst in and began to untie the horses. But he was so scared that he frightened all of us horses, and we refused to budge. Then I heard a cry of fire, and the other groom came in. He calmly got one horse out and went back for another. The next thing I heard was James' gentle voice. Come on, Beauty, on with your brindle. We'll be soon out of this. And then he took a scarf off his neck and tied it lightly over my eyes. Still speaking to me in a soft voice, he led me out of the stable. When we were safe in the yard, he slipped the scarf off and asked somebody to stay with me. Then he went back in. I whinnied loudly. Ginger told me later that my whinny gave her the courage to come out. It seemed forever before James and Ginger finally emerged from the flames. Then at last, the firefighters arrived and the fire was put out. Do you see him pulling out of the fire? That is a brave young boy. The next day, I heard that the fire was started by that young man's pipe. After a terrible night, we couldn't wait to get back to Birtwick Park. One night, not long after, I was awoken by a bell. John came racing in, carrying my bridle and saddle. Wake up, Beauty, he called. We must race through the night. John tacked me up and rode me up to the hall. The squire stood by the door with a lamp and soon delivered the note to the good doctor. The doctor's horse had been out all day, so although I had galloped all the way, I carried the doctor back to the park as fast as I could. There's Black Beauty galloping through the night. After that night, I was ill. I began to shake and tremble and shiver all over with cold. Even though I couldn't speak, John seemed to know how I felt. He covered me with rugs and nursed me night and day. My master also came to see me. My poor Beauty, he said one day, you saved your mistress's life. I was glad to hear that, and, from what the doctor said, if we had waited a while longer, it would have been too late. John told my master that he had never seen a horse go so fast in his life, as if I knew what the matter was. Of course I did, I thought. I knew my mistress's life was in danger. I did not know how long I was ill, but eventually I got better. When I recovered, I discovered that there were going to be great changes. I had now lived at Birtwick Park for 3 years. We had heard from time to time that our mistress was ill, and the doctor was often at the house. Then, when we heard our mistress had to go to the warm country to get better, the household and stables were broken up. Merrylegs was given to a local priest. Joe was to go with him, so I knew he'd be well looked after. And Ginger and I were sold to the Earl of Wicklow, and we went to live at Earlshall Park. And so the next chapter of my life began. The end. I wonder what happened to Black Beauty. Do you think he lived a good life? I hope so. Well, thank you for joining me this morning for story time. We'll see you next time. I hope you get out and enjoy this wonderful sunshiny day. Have a good day. Thank you.